Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Bruce Barcomb. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, The Change Agent, Paradigm Shift in Consciousness. Available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. But people, listen, you have to go to Amazon and Barnes & Noble to purchase the book, but you're definitely going to want to check out his personal site to gather everything that Bruce has in store. And that's thechangesagent.com. So changes is plural on that. And when you go to the site, you'll find more information on Bruce, more information on paradigm shift, which is what we're going to be discussing today, but also another narrative that he's written called The Change Agent from 30,000 Feet. Now, when you search that separate title, you're going to want to make sure to get the newest edition, people, the second edition that's available for The Change Agent from 30,000 Feet, to make sure that you have the most updated copy. And I will say, Bruce was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best publishers in the business, Book Launch International. So if you or anybody you know have a book that they'd like moved, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give and move it through Book Launch. You can find out more information on them and their fantastic team at booklaunchintl.com. Bruce is the expert, okay? He's written the book, he's done the research, and he is going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. So sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready. Bruce, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How you doing today, man?
Too bad, Benji. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, Bruce, it is an absolute pleasure, man. We're really looking forward to this, and the words that you've put on the page and that you're going to be able to articulate to us. Listen, just during the pre-screening call, I was at the edge of my seat, man. And I know that when we pick up your copies of the books and we read the information that you put inside, it's just going to follow suit in the same way. So my listening audience, myself, it is an absolute pleasure. It's such a treat to have you on the line as a guest. And we're really looking forward to all the information we're going to be able to receive. But before we go into your book, Bruce, let's hold off slightly. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
So a little bit about myself is I'm a financial consultant. I've got an analytical background. I've taught college. So I'm very analytic in my fundamental approach to data and information. Facts do matter in business, and I want to make sure that the data and information that I write about, I've researched and make those available to the reader as well. So in the back of my books, you'll find bibliographies. In the ebook version of Paradigm Shift, you'll be able to click on links and go out and see for yourself for the information contained in the book, the sourcing.
You know, it's going to sound outrageous when I say this, but we've come to that point in society, Bruce, where when you say something like research, it's absolutely disheartening how often people make assumptions or judgments without doing the due diligence and researching. And I love the fact that you're talking about that. Listen, just that simple fact, guys. Listen, there's links. It takes me back to school, right? People, it feels like an eternity since I've stepped foot in a classroom. But I remember having those essays, right? And at the end of the essay, you always have the works cited page. And it was always a thing where you need to cite the work. Where did you gather your information? So often nowadays, I feel like we've gotten to the point in society where a lot of times we formulate judgments or assumptions without doing the research. And as absolutely crazy as it sounds for me to thank you, Bruce, for doing the research, I'm going to thank you for doing the research, Bruce. Thank you very much for that. And guys, again, research is there. It's compiled. You make the decision on whether or not you want to follow or believe. But he did the due diligence by putting that forth. Thank you very much for that, Bruce. And without further ado, The Change Agent, Paradigm Shift in Consciousness. Tell us a little bit more about your narrative.
The book starts at the fundamentals of what we see, we learn. What we've learned, we practice. And what we practice, we become. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so as we take a look at what we think we know or believe. We want to be able to take a look at, what's operating in us, right? We come out of into life with no software programs installed, just the fundamentals of biology, and everything else thereafter is new knowledge or new information. It's us assimilating that data and information, and so how we respond to the world is partially when we look at spirituality, we're looking at tribalism. The tribe that we're born into depends upon the spirituality that is given to us. And so those create us as human beings. Our social influences, our educational influences, and other things make us who we are. And as we take a look at paradigm shifts in consciousness, I cite in the book in one case that, as human beings, the stewing of our emotions, I think if you go back to the 7 deadly sins, they stew and they simmer in us, and we each get our own flavor within us. And so as we deal with pride and envy and greed and lust and gluttony and things of that nature, as a human being with emotions, we have a chance to either stay stuck with what we've learned or to say, hey, I got a software virus in there. I got bad information. Time to delete old programming, do an upgrade, and basically do a paradigm shift in my thinking and actions. And so we're talking about first order change, inspired change, some change is forced upon us.
Bruce, I want to talk about the concept of inspiration. Now, we know with some of the topics that are addressed in your book, depending on your belief system and, where you fall on that spectrum in the country, some of these things could be viewed, or some of the topics rather, not what you're saying, but some of the topics rather, could be viewed as propaganda, could be viewed as conspiracy theorists sometimes. Now, I want to give you an opportunity, Bruce. What inspired you to embark upon this book and tackle these concepts?
I watched the January 6th insurrection and with the vitriol and the anger of the people that basically attacked our institution. And what immediately came to mind to me is, what was it that they were chemically addicted to between their left ear and right ear? Because our brain does store all our emotions chemically in our head. To where they would cross the country with such anger and vitriol and take action. So it really came back to thinking for me. The second thought that came in, it's in the, is if you've seen the movie Fight Club, right? It's the anarchists trying to bring down society and create chaos for their own agendas and benefits. And as I took a look at some of the thinking specific to the QAnon core belief, I wanted to address some of those things that were covered in their belief system. That, in my opinion, attached itself to the Republican Party like a cancer, like a festering cancer, and ate away at the integrity of otherwise respected institutions.
Bruce, so just examining, again, some of the concepts that you talk about. We talk about philosophy in the book. You're talking about religion, psychology of addiction and brainwashing, QAnon you mentioned, the political divisiveness that we have. In your mind, are these all separate topics, or is there something that really unifies each of them?
It all comes back to stream of consciousness. When it comes to philosophy has been around for 2,500 years, predates Christianity, right? And so the ability to self-reflect and look at truth. What is the truth? Not what am I espousing from an ideological core belief, but what is the truth about the actions I'm taking in reality? When it comes to the concept of religion, I started at the cradle of civilization and took a look at what we as across our known span of humanity does. And, if we look at our timeline, I've done museums out here in Los Angeles, like the La Brea tar pits, so anything that predates our current timeline, from the Ice Age would be what we would consider a pre-Adamite culture, because our cradle of civilization says, 5,000 BCE, Sumeria, and then you move up and you find, the Egyptians and Judaism along that path. But it's that time frame forward. So when I find a civilization that existed at 10,000 BCE that wasn't, again, having gone to La Brea tar pits, is not carrying a spear, that is an intelligent civilization, has buried 29 or 20 different circles, 10 pillars each that align to the stars, have reliefs. It's no longer what I think I know ideologically. I've been educated to think that that time frame is Neanderthal man or the caveman, but it's not. And so that's new archaeological information that I get in the now, so I can upgrade and change my thinking.
People, I'm telling you, you're going to want to run on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, thechangesagent.com, and pick up your copy. This is absolutely incredible. Bruce, next question, man. Curiosity for myself, right? What would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you picked up along your journey?
The highlight was really in the completion and then getting the reflection back from other people having read the book and commented on it. And the main thing is that they called it a quality piece because not only was did the research go into the book, but the way it was presented intelligently. Some of that, when it comes to dissecting, a specific belief and the charts around that, they really give it high praise. And it comes back to the tools that I learned. And I just applied the craft to the current situation.
Bruce, last couple of questions here as we start to tie out of this fantastic interview. I think we could assume the answer to this next question, but you know what happens when you assume, Bruce, so I'm not going to do that to you. I have you here on the line. I'm going to come right out and ask. And also, if we have already covered this, I think the message is so profound, well, that it's worth repeating. Bruce, who would you say is your intended audience with this book, and what are you hoping to see them take from it?
It's the college educated, it's the people looking at political science, sociology, philosophy. The fundamental tools are there. It's because it challenges the accepted current belief system, and rather than just going with it, the ability to holistically own your truth for you, your thoughts, your ideas, in yourself, rather than just going along with the flow of the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Bruce, I want to give you an opportunity here because I think what human beings are just naturally accustomed to doing is, as we're talking about with regards to this book, right, is formulating assumptions before actually doing due diligence and researching. That's how I started the interview. Well, now with this next area, I know when we talk about a lot of the concepts that you're bringing up, well, depending on which side of the political spectrum certain people may fall on, they may view you as leaning more Democrat, leaning more left in terms of your views. Well, I want to give you an opportunity to really dispel any preconceived notions here. As I mentioned when I first started, people, this is not about Republican, Democrat, right, left. It's not. Bruce is not here to tell you what you should believe. He's just supplying information. But Bruce, I want to give you an opportunity here to, again, dispel any preconceived notions. Do you have a political agenda behind this book? And really, what are you wanting to make sure that people do not assume prior to picking it up?
So my book is pro-Republican and pro-Democrat. In fact, during this past election campaign, I've given to both parties, right? So I'm a centrist, I'm an independent, and I always look to the truth of their actions. So if I was looking at Liz Cheney, for example, and I would be looking for somebody that's looking for truth as to the actionable results of what happened in reality, not some other version of events, because I'm an existentialist, and existentialist is always about truth.
There you have it. There you have it. Bruce, what's next for you, man? I mean, this book is fantastic. Please tell me there's another one in the process of being created right now. What's on the horizon for you, Bruce?
I can't say I have a definitive read. I always look for the inspiration, but I always take mental notes. And trust me, the writing of this book took a while. The research and analysis, so I make those notes, and then because I do practice meditation, I look for that inspired thought, and then I'll put pen to paper, and it will take off in time.
I absolutely love it, Bruce. Last question here, man. As I said to you on the pre-screening call, I'm an artist myself. So I love having this platform to be able to pay it forward, in a sense, to other artists out there listening in. In this instance, other writers out there. Now, you're someone that has been through the process, Bruce. You've written this book. You've written The Change Agent from 30,000 Feet. Hopefully, you get that inspiration and another book comes up in the very near future. But I want to take this opportunity for any new writers out there listening in right now. Bruce, what are some words of wisdom that you could relate to them?
Write what you know, and take the notes, put them down on paper, and come back to it, and then go out, have some fun, and then sit down and write.
There it is.
I'm going to the gym after this.
There you go. You know what I'm picking up from it? Everything in moderation, people. Everything in moderation. It's surprising how often when we have passions, we just want to continue to go. And listen, that desire is great. But even with our passions, even with our dreams, you got to take a break every now and then, right? Let yourself cool off. Let yourself just handle everything in moderation, people. I promise you drink too much water and it could be bad for you, right? So I absolutely love that advice. And people, you know what I love even more is we're at the end of the interview now. We've discussed so much information, yet somehow we've barely scratched the surface. There's still so much left to be discovered. You all know what you have to do. I know I don't have to. I'm going to say it for you once again just to double down and re-impress it. We're here on the line with Bruce Barcomb. We just finished discussing his wonderful book, The Change Agent, Paradigm Shift in Consciousness. Available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly through his site, thechangesagent.com. While you're at it, look into his other book, The Change Agent from 30,000 Feet, and make sure that you're getting the newest edition possible with regards to that book. A fantastic journey for you to embark upon, an even better gift for you to get for someone else too. Head on over there, pick up your copies today. You surely will not be disappointed. Bruce, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Such an honor. I truly mean that. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you for having me, Ben.